I love the content, but I hate the hat. Can you take off that stupid hat? Why do you wear the hat? Well, today we're gonna talk about it. What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. If you pay attention to my channel, if you're a regular watcher, you know I'm always wearing a MAGA hat. Make America Great Again. I'm always wearing one. Have 3 of them. Technically, have 4 of them that have been ordered, but Win Red is on back order. So what was supposed to be 7 to 10 days for it to go out has now turned into, I think it was 4 to 6 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks. Who knows? Who remembers? It's somewhere in an email. Can't wait till my hats get here. But here's the thing. I will answer in the short version, and then I'll answer the 2 most common questions I get that are like follow-up. And understand, I do not mind how you're voting. I am not here to persuade you to vote any particular way. I am just answering this because I've had enough people ask me, and I've had enough people mention things about it in the comments. And it really doesn't bother me when people post it in the comments, but I'm not going to answer every single person. Every time I see that comment, I just scroll right past because I don't feel like I should have to answer people, especially individually, but I will answer just so the people that may wonder, that regularly support and don't care anyway, know why I wear it all the time. And the reason is I had always assumed that people knew that I was a Trump supporter since I had been clear about that since 2015. I realize the way YouTube works, new followers jump on, that kind of thing. But if you watch old videos, regularly I will throw in that I'm voting for Trump. Again, I know not everybody watches every minute of every video. I'm fine with that. But it hadn't occurred to me that that would at all be a shock. So in early July, I decided to make a video about Robert De Niro when he came out talking about Trump. And of course, that's going to be a pro-Trump video. To me, it was like doing content on anything else. Even though I do a lot of LGBT content, if you pay attention, I do content on things other than just LGBT. And so for me, doing a video about Robert De Niro was not that far of a deviation from what I usually talk about. I figured it would get less views because people don't always want to talk about politics, and I understand that, and I respect that. But sometimes I'll make a video just because I feel like making a video. So I went ahead and made that video, and quite a few people got mad at me when I put that video out. And they were like, if I had known you were voting for Trump, I never would have supported you. Unsubscribe, unsubscribe, unsubscribe. I can't unsubscribe enough times from this. And I was just like, how did you guys not know? Even with the stuff I talk about and the angle I take when I'm talking about it, I figured everybody just knew. I didn't think that was at all a secret. So for the next couple of days, I put out a couple videos that were me doing like lives just because I felt like it at that time because it's less editing. I don't really like doing lives anymore. I'll do them every once in a while, I guess, but I just prefer fully edited videos because otherwise I ramble too much like now. But yeah, so a lot of people... Well, not a lot, but it seemed like a lot because I was seeing a lot of negativity, and usually my comments stay pretty positive. Yeah, there's a few people that will say something stupid here and there, but this was like a different level. And I was like, well, I don't really understand why that's happening because I thought everybody knew. And so I just decided to wear MAGA hats every video, at least until the election is over, because the way that people came at it in the comments wasn't just like, oh, I didn't know, or I had no idea. It was like, I never would have supported you if I had known. And the last thing that I want is people supporting me under false pretenses. Like I said, I don't mind how you vote. That's not something that ever really occurs to me in any particular way where I would be like, well, if you're voting for Kamala, then don't bother watching this video or any of that stuff. And I thought this time around, because things do seem to be a lot more evenly distributed, I thought that this time around, people really wouldn't care anyway when I made the video. I didn't make the video to be controversial. I just thought it was just another video I was making. Like I said, I don't want anybody to feel like I'm misleading them. That's not the way I live my life. That's not the way my social media presence works, is by misleading people. I always try to be open about things. Of course, I can't tell every story about myself or every viewpoint or every opinion I have. But for the most part, I try to make sure that people know all the main things about me. Like I've addressed before, sometimes people think I'm anti-trans, and so some of the more TERF types, which I don't mind TERFs being here either, but when they want me to stick to their rules of, this is what should qualify as a woman, and I'm fully aware of what is an actual woman, but I also do believe that trans women are a thing too, and I don't at all think they're the same as women, but at the same time, I've had so many trans friends in my life that I'm not going to lie to you guys and say, oh yeah, trans people shouldn't be a thing, or trans women shouldn't ever say that they're trans women. No, that's why I'm always very clear about being like women are women and trans women are trans women, and for the most part, most of my audience really does seem to get that. I am not a person though that really sticks to a lot of ideology. Like if you were to ask me about different things, I think you would find that I'm a lot more flexible than just me wearing a MAGA hat would tell you. But there are a lot of people that feel like if you at all support Donald Trump, then you are a bad person and they don't want to support you. So I wear the hats in every video because I feel like if it bothers you that much, just that I wear the hat or that I'm voting that way, then you shouldn't be here. I don't want you to feel like I'm lying to you. I don't want you to feel like I fooled you into supporting somebody that you don't support. So I wear them to be very clear. And then the two most common questions I get, one, people will ask me how I feel about the way that a Trump presidency could affect the LGBTQ community, and also how I feel about the way that a Trump presidency could affect immigrants. I'll answer both of those questions. I'll try to be as quick about it as possible. Before we go any further, I'm just going to ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to comment just to help me on the algorithm, but you don't know what to comment, just put a knife, because extreme lefties are going to come for my neck. The first thing people throw at me when it comes to the LGBT thing is gay marriage might be in danger. To answer that question, I really don't think gay marriage is going anywhere. I don't think Donald Trump is against gay marriage, especially since he just had a gay wedding at Mar-a-Lago not too long ago. So there's that. But as far as me personally, you have to remember that I'm Gen X. So when I came out, which was in the 90s, we didn't have gay marriage then anyway. And when I was really acting up was the early 2000s, we didn't have gay marriage then either. And I didn't feel particularly oppressed during that time. So if that were to happen, which I truly do not believe that it's going to happen, I have to repeat that, it wouldn't affect my life. I would just continue doing what I've been doing all the other years of my adult life, which is not getting married. I'm not sitting here a married man. I've been engaged several times. One day we'll talk about that, but today ain't that day. We don't got that kind of time. So it really wouldn't affect my life. But the more important thing is, I don't think that even if it did happen that way, that gay marriage is a good trade-off for what really would be affected by the LGBT community in a Trump presidency, and that's protecting LGBT kids. Because while I do believe that trans is an actual thing, and I do believe that some people are actually transsexual, I do not at all dispute that. I think the number of people that think they're trans right now because of what transgender and the community has turned into and been pushing, I think we're in a very dangerous spot. And if you've been watching my channel for a long time, you know that I am one of the people that when I was a kid thought I was trans. I didn't know the word trans, but I did think I was trans. You can watch it on other episodes. I've talked about it, and I really, really, really thought that. And I am so glad that gender affirming care wasn't a thing for kids, wasn't something people were even talking about for adults when I was a kid, because I definitely would have been one of the people that would have jumped in line. I would have talked to my parents into letting me transition and probably given them the same BS that a lot of these kids are giving them now, where if I don't get my way, I'm gonna unalive myself, that kind of thing. I probably would have been one of those kids, and I would have been started down a road that I really would not have wanted to be on. And as it is, I have had several things done to myself, not in the way of changing gender, but just as far as plastic surgery, I've been very open about that too. And a lot of that that didn't turn out to be what I thought it was. And I don't feel like I, in good conscience, as an LGBT man that has lived the life that I've lived and had so many trans friends, can support anything that would try to make it so parents either have to go down the road of gender affirming care, or that would make kids think that gender affirming care is definitely the right solution for them based on the way that they feel now. I am a very strong believer in letting these kids wait until they're 18. Once you're 18, you can do whatever you want. You can make as many mistakes as you want to. That's what I did. I made a lot of mistakes, but that's not something that I can support. And so voting this way so that we can protect these young kids makes it so that, which I really don't think, I don't even know why I have to discuss this part of it, but I know I have to because some people really feel it's a thing. But if gay marriage were the trade-off, I'd just be like, cool, then no more gay marriage. I'm fine with that. And also, I'm going to do a couple videos coming up on that. So if you think that I'm leaving out some details or not talking about certain things, I definitely will talk about those things, but I just didn't want this video to be too long. So that gives you the short, abridged version of why I don't worry about that and don't think about it. Secondly, when it comes to the immigration thing, before I really go into this one, I do want to point out that I do think it's a little bit racist when people on the left throw this at me, because in a lot of cases they will say things like, well, how are you going to feel when your family has to go back? And it's like, you're automatically implying that I am less American than you are, and there's no way that I and my family could ever be American enough for that not to be an issue for us, just because I'm brown, just because my last name is Rivera, which my dad is first generation. We have no family on his side that is still in Mexico or trying to get across the border, for that matter, or here illegally. On my mom's side of the family, she often jokes that her family was here when they bought the land because her family is originally from Arizona. Arizona became a state in 1912. All I have to do is have a couple great grandparents on her side for that to be true. And even though she half jokes when she said it, I'm sure is the way it went down. So there's that. But as far as immigration goes, if you just wanted me to talk about that as an American, I think that does affect all of us as Americans. So I don't mind talking about it. Also, I do definitely have a connection with other Latinos, and I have seen a lot of the way that that goes down. And if you know anything about the way that works, a lot of times immigrants that have done it the legal way, they don't support illegal immigration. And also, people that did come here the illegal way and then found their way to citizenship, whichever way they were able to find their way here, a lot of times are not in support of illegal immigration because they see firsthand what I've seen firsthand. I have been very open about the fact that I always feel most comfortable living in Latino neighborhoods. That's kind of where I like to be because I can get the food that I want. Also, as much as people like to talk about white privilege, there is such a thing as brown privilege, where when you're around your own people, they will give you discounts, they will be nicer to you, they will treat you a different way. And I really enjoy taking advantage of that. And yeah, every once in a while, I don't get the privileges because I don't speak Spanish, which I hate that. I wish I spoke Spanish so I could get all the deals. But I maybe sound like I'm joking, but I'm being 100% honest. This is an actual thing. And so in a lot of cases, I do like living around other Latinos. And one thing I have noticed is that illegal immigrants deal with so much more injustice just by nature of being illegal that I think something does need to be done about it. And I don't think the solution is for everybody to go back. I don't think that by a long shot. But I do think that something has to be done to figure out what's going to happen with these people. Like, are you going to provide a path to citizenship, or should they go back? Because if you're saying that you're not going to allow these people any way to actually become citizens, then I think it's more humane to tell them to just go back rather than have them continue to live here and be treated like second-class citizens, and in a lot of cases not be offered the same basic protections that we as citizens are allowed. Like, when you think about the way that works out, I've seen it firsthand, like I said, and I don't think a lot of people understand that when it comes comes to the way they get treated by landlords, the way that they can't call the police when something goes wrong for them in a lot of cases because they're worried that they'll be deported or that they'll be put on a list. Even in sanctuary cities, that's something that illegal immigrants worry about. And a lot of people don't pay attention to that. So what I'm saying is that, yeah, maybe Donald Trump doesn't talk about immigration in the way that people would want him to talk about it. But I think the fact that he makes it a focus and he actually looks at it as something we need to do something about creates the conversation. And then it's up to our legislators and also us as the citizens to put pressure on our legislators to figure out what we're going to do with these people. What percentage does actually need to go back and what percentage do we actually need here? And for the percentage that we actually need here, how are we going to figure out a way of providing them a path to citizenship or some sort of status that allows them to be able to pay taxes, to be able to be functional members of society, as well as be offered the protections that I'm talking about when it comes to legal, financial, and everything else. And anytime you guys think that the Republicans, the right, would really consider just getting rid of all the illegal immigrants, anytime you ever think that that's an option, look up Alabama HB 56. It was a law that was passed in 2011 in Alabama, and it was considered America's harshest immigration law. And see the way that that worked out for Alabama. Ask yourself if either party would ever want that on a nationwide scale. And that will tell you why I don't worry about all of the immigrants going back. But when you look at what we have going on in Aurora, Colorado right now, or Chicago is having problems, New York is having problems, it's gotten to a point where illegal immigrants know that they can come here. They know that they're going to be able to get government assistance. And they also know that in certain cities and certain states, the laws that we have to abide by as actual citizens will not be enforced when it comes to them. So if I look at it that way, and I'm not speaking for you, I'm saying if I look at it that way and I say we've got the left that's really just trying to go crazy with the transitioning of minors and also feels like absolutely nothing should be done to shore up our borders and that illegal immigration should just continue to happen. And there are many on the left that think that I should be dissolved. I know that more recently, Kamala has said that she is not in favor of that, but there was a point when she said she was. When you consider those two factors, which for me are kind of major, I think even if you would not vote that way, I think you should at least be able to understand why I, given the things that I said, feel the way that I feel. Anyway, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. As always, this has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.
They bought into his bullshit.